This is the SAU Report, a program featuring interviews with the faculty, staff, students, and alumni of Southern Arkansas University in Magnolia.
Welcome. I am Doreen Durham.
And I am Anastasia Theodoridou. Our guests today are Professor Elena Dianova, an Associate Professor in the Foreign Language Department at Moscow State Pedagogical University in Moscow.
And Dr. Donald A. Watt, Chair of the Department of History, Political Science, and Geography. Welcome. Dr. Watt, what is your educational background?
I've got a mixed educational background. I went to a small college in Ohio, Mount Union College, got my bachelor's degree with a major in physics and in religion. Then I did a Master of Arts degree at Pacific School of Religion in History and Phenomenology of Religion, and did another master's and doctoral degree at the University of Pennsylvania in Conflict Analysis and Peace Research.
Dr. Dianova, how about your educational background?
I graduated from the Moscow State Pedagogical University Foreign Languages Department. So my major is English, and I've been teaching English since then. And my minor is French. And I did my PhD, and so just in lexicology and English lexicology.
Dr. Watt, when did the Russian program begin, and who started it?
The Russian program began 5 years ago. David Sixby, who is an associate professor of history here at SAU, was visiting up at the University of Central Arkansas, and UCA had been having relations with Moscow State Pedagogical University for a number of years. And while he was up there, he met one of their visiting professors, Elena Solovova, and they became friends. Professor Solovova came down, visited our campus, and they worked out then the framework for the agreement. So we're just completing 5 years of the program here at SAU.
Oh. Dr. Dianova, are you originally from Moscow, or were you born somewhere else?
I was born somewhere else. I was born in the Urals. And so that was at the end of the war. And then my family moved to the Ukraine. And so I've been living in Moscow since I was 10. But I still consider myself a Muscovite.
Dr. Watt, what do you think of the Russian students that are studying here at SAU?
The Russian students have all been excellent students. Obviously, to have the honor of being chosen as one of the 2 students to come from the university to represent them, they must have good academic backgrounds. But all of them, when they come here, are very eager to learn about American culture, to experience the American educational system. And so all of them have done well in classes. I'm not aware of any of them that have had any problems with classes, because they are willing to put the time and effort in into their classes, as well as to enjoying other aspects of American culture.
Dr. Dianova, how do you see the Russian students when they come here for the exchange program and when they return to the Pedagogical University?
Oh yes, we have been having this project for some years now, and as I teach final year students, I usually have students, those who return from SAU. So I believe that this is a very good experience for them. So first of all, their English improves immensely. This is American English, because just at the university very often we're taught British English, but their English improves immensely, and you can easily just see that that person just has been to the States, and as we have just this project, you will be right to say that he has been to the SAU. They do have some subjects here, and I believe that it is very good, really, that we don't have back home. And so that is also a very interesting experience. Now, just watching the 2 that came with me in January, Sergei and Katya, so I believe that they do really get a lot from their classes here, and especially those things that they wouldn't get back home. They will get some different things here. And I talk to them just practically daily, and I see that they enjoy their classes, and it's very pleasant to hear from Dr. Watt that he is satisfied just with their performance.
When they go home, do they take quite a bit of the American slang back with them?
Not in class. They do, definitely they do. You know, young people, they mix with just young people. They've made a lot of friends here. I believe that they are quite just known in the community, in the students' community. They wouldn't use it in class, but I'm sure that they do know it. They've learned it.
Dr. Watt, why is the exchange program only one way, meaning that only Russian students come to SAU, but no Americans go to Moscow?
But the big difference is language. The students that are coming here from Moscow all speak English very well. Here at SAU, we do not have a big Russian department, and so our students are not able to go over and to share classes in the same way. In the summertime, hopefully in the summer of 1999, we'll be taking a group of students to Moscow to spend 3 weeks as a part of an exchange, not to take classes as such, but to experience Moscow, to visit some of the surrounding areas. So right now, we could work it out two ways if we had the Russian language department here, but we don't, and so that limits our students' ability to go over to Moscow.
According to the Banner News interview and a photo of you, does feeding the ducks at the pond help to combat the feeling of missing home and missing Russia? And do you find Southern Arkansas very different from your Russia?
It is different, but it isn't as much different, say, just as some places around Moscow. And you know, just when we were coming from the airport, January the 12th, and Dr. Watt took us from Little Rock Airport just here, in some places just we looked around and, aren't we just in Russia? Because just, you know, of course, not the palm trees, but just all other trees and pine trees and everything, so it looks just, in some parts it does look just the same. Large cities would be different. So just, I was in San Francisco and San Jose last week, so that is different, just large cities. But no matter just what is around you, the so-called Black Sea, as I call, just these dark ponds, just all the trees, you still feel homesick. Yeah. No matter how much like home it might be, but still, it is a bit different and you feel homesick.
Dr. Watt, what is the main goal of the exchange program?
The main goal of the exchange program is to enrich both universities. Here at SAU, we have had a number of students. We get 2 on scholarship every semester, and there have been some that have paid their own way to come from Moscow. And so we enjoy the benefit of their company. They give programs. The professors, such as Dr. Dianova, is giving programs in the evenings. We have Russian language study. Our students get to experience people from a different place, a different culture, and that helps them understand, get a perspective for the world. It helps them to understand that while we experience culture here in the United States in a certain way, there are other ways of looking at the world, other experiences that people have had, and so hopefully this will help bind the 2 countries together, help people understand what is happening here, what is happening in Moscow and other places in the world.
How do you feel that the goal of the exchange program is going?
No, I think just it is going just quite the right way, though of course I would like to have more students. And I think that back home we have been considering some maybe new things in the program. Maybe to offer American students, those who would like to come just to Moscow, to offer them not only the Russian language course, and maybe not the Russian language course, but some other courses in some other subjects. And just maybe then some of the students would be interested just to come, because my university has a lot of different schools and departments, and we can offer just some different things. I believe that though we are rather few here, but we are the lucky ones to be exposed to American culture, American lifestyle, to see the work of the university. And I do hope that those bits and pieces of information and those small talks that we have here, just speaking about our country, about our lifestyle, our views, would help American people also just to understand maybe Russia better.
Dr. Watt, why not the exchange program involves Russia only? and it does not involve any other countries?
Well, part of that, like I said, is just the situation that we happen to make connections, with the Russian professors. The biggest reason that we couldn't expand it, it could be expanded, but obviously there's a certain amount of expense with any program such as this. The scholarships for the students to come over, the room and board that we provide for them, the cost of having the professor come over, that does take some financial commitment. And if we had the people who were willing to assist us with that financial aspect, I'm sure we could expand it to other countries and other universities.
I attended your lecture last Monday night, and I wanted to ask you, could you talk a little bit about the industry in Russia?
Just like a citizen, just an ordinary citizen without being any specialist. I always say I'm a language teacher, but my impression is that our industry at the moment is rather in a very difficult situation. Unfortunately, the production has decreased greatly, and money is made mostly through selling natural resources and raw materials, and I feel very sad about it. Because maybe that's the easiest way and the quickest way to make money, but I don't think that that's the right way. Now, besides, I'm afraid that we don't have any good, proper legislation to motivate small business. To motivate just the emergency and the development of what you might call this middle class, people owing their small things. So just that is also a problem in industry. Besides, industry was very much centralized. There were different cities specializing in one definite type of industry. And you can imagine the fate of a city which was closely connected with defense industry, where all the plants were working for the defense industry. And with the cuts in military budget, with the cuts just in all this sphere, just defense industry now has had very great cuts. It's difficult for people to find any other jobs, or it takes time for the plant to change its production and manufacturing. So we do have, unfortunately, all kinds of problems. And that's why just quite a lot of things are foreign-made now. If you go just starting with a shop and just ending up with some machinery, and they're expensive. So, but still, as I said just in my talk, I'm really just proud of my country. We are in a very difficult situation, but I'm sure that we shall overcome.
Does it scare you that since the breakup of all of the states, that the atomic part of the war industry, how is it being handled? It would kind of scare me to wonder who's got their little finger on the red button, so to speak. Does it bother you, or does it bother people in Russia?
I wouldn't say that it bothers that much. No, I'm honestly speaking. So maybe because we have some other problem, but no, not that problem. No, I think that just people are realistic enough, and people are clever enough everywhere just to just somehow to play about with this red button. No.
Okay.
Dr. Watt, what are some of the projects the Russian exchange program is involved and takes part in every semester?
Every semester we have 2 students that come from the university, and 1 semester a year we have a visiting professor. And that's the exchange program going this way. In the agreement, we're working out a new agreement. We've been working on a 5-year agreement, and we're looking to the future in the next 5 years. And in the next 5 years, again, we're planning on taking students over. We could do it every summer if there were enough students that wanted to go, but probably every other summer going on a trip to Moscow. And then we're hoping to have professors from our university go to Moscow and to work a semester at their university. Again, most of our professors don't speak Russian, but if they work in the English language department, They can help with just the way we speak English. We don't speak English like the textbooks read. We speak with our own idiosyncrasies. And so our professors could go over there, help them with American culture, and then depending upon their background, if they are a language teacher, that's great, but if there's someone like me that teaches political science, then I could talk a little bit about the American politics, about the way that works. And so we could enrich their study program, their program there in Moscow. So that's what we're looking forward to for the next 5 years.
Yes, and we would welcome and we will be happy to have just professors from the SAU. And don't you worry about you do know Russian, Dr. Watt. I can say just as a Russian teacher. No, just, in my, just at my university, before I came here, I talked to the just rector of my university and pro-rector, who is in charge of all these changes. In every department, we have a group of students who take English, who have some extra classes of English. And so if you come to the history department, they would just love to have you there, but we would love to have you with us as well. So just I think that there won't be much problem just if people come and work with us. We would like it very much.
Dr. Watts, how does the exchange program help the students from Russia to adjust to the life that they left in Moscow? And in other words, Moscow is a big city with lots of things for young people to do, and Magnolia is kind of a smaller area. And so, how do they adjust? Do they have a time to adjust?
Some adjust very easily. Others adjust with much greater difficulty. Right, you've got two transitions, big city to rural area, and then Russia to America. So they're trying to do both things at once. If we are able to make contact with them before they come over, we try to give them information about SAU, about Magnolia, about this area. And then when I or Professor Sixby used to pick them up, I drive them down from the airport, and they get to sort of a couple-hour crash course in what goes on here. And then we try to work with them. I try to keep in touch with them at least once a week. It depends on the specific situation. Like, say, some adapt to go with their own friends, and I hardly see them. Others I see quite often. But try to adapt with them. We do try to have special programs every couple times a semester. Have a gathering for them with the other Russian students in the area. This Sunday evening we're going to have a Women's Day dinner for the Russian students and some of the friends, and so we're going to try to not make them homesick, but have a little bit of Russia here in Magnolia.
Dr. Dianova, what is the quality of the medicine, and what about the price in Russia?
The quality of medicine, I think that is this is good. Now, as for the price, now just we have a choice. We all have the right to free medical service, and we are very much used to it. But now just you have a choice. There are a lot of just fee-paying medical centers, and that's up to you where to go. And not necessarily a fee-paying thing would be better than just the state-run thing. So just usually people would ask, oh, who is the best doctor, where should I go? That's just the way it goes.
So the medical system is mainly state?
Yes, it is mainly state. It is mainly state. I can't give you just the definite percentage, but I'm absolutely sure that the fee-paying institutions would make something, maybe just Dr. Watt, no, just from some sources, just about just 10% or just not more.
Dr. Watts, considering all the international students here on campus, it has been pointed out that the 6 Russian students here, I think there are 5 or 6, it seems that they have been able to go more places, go maybe to Dallas or Little Rock, go more places than all the other international students haven't had the opportunities. Do you see any chance of being able to include more international students in trips and places that are taken?
Of course, I work with the Russian program itself. There are other people that work with other aspects of our international student population. Again, the thing, we try to develop a close relationship with the ones that come on the exchange program, and so I do take them places from time to time. The difference there is that I can take one or two or maybe 3 or 4 in my car and go to Little Rock and look at a museum or something, but to get 20 or 30 international students, then would have to rent a couple of vans or a bus. Like I said, we're very interested in working with others, and we're very willing to work with all the international students and other programs, but it's just logistics makes it easier that since we have this small group that we try to do some special things for them, especially since they're guests of our university, and we like to make them feel welcome.
And we do appreciate it very much. On the one, and Dr. Watt is trying, so I was surprised when you were so modest saying that you see them once a week or something. Practically every day Dr. Watt would ask and just would offer something. And that is very nice. And all other teachers, especially just in the foreign languages department, just they're very considerate. And on the other hand, there is one small detail, maybe. I do have some foreign students in my Russian class, and my understanding is that practically all of them have cars, or they have this opportunity, and they do go places. I know that my student would say, oh, just my friend took me this place, that place, Little Rock, somewhere else. Now, just as with our students, just most of them can't drive, and that is a problem. That's why we always depend on somebody very friendly and somebody who is going just to give us a lift and to take us to places. Maybe that's why you notice it more as a Russian group going somewhere, because just we depend just on this respect, having no just public transport here. So you depend on your friends. You depend on your friends.
Dr. Watt, you also took a trip to Moscow last summer, correct?
Yes, I was there.
Could you talk a little bit about the similarities and the differences you saw between the United States and Russia?
Similarities are in the people. Very friendly people there, very giving, welcomed us heartily. I had dinner in several professors' homes. I also had a chance to visit a couple of United Methodist churches there, and was welcomed by them and had dinners with some of those people in the Moscow suburbs, I guess you would say. And so the people are very similar. They're very loving, they're very caring, they're concerned about a lot of the same issues we're concerned about. They're concerned about their future, the future relationship between our countries, so things such as that. Differences, again, part of the difference is Moscow is a big city, Magnolia is not. And so there are differences there. Moscow has excellent public transportation, so that when we went there, we stayed at the university. It might have been nice to have cars, but we didn't miss cars because we could walk to the metro station, get anywhere we wanted to, see anything. It was not a problem. Some of the differences are, like say, in the transition in the economic system, they're still trying to figure out some things. They didn't used to have cars. Now people are getting cars. And around the apartments where they live, there were never any garages built because no one had a car. And so now you see cars parked on the grass, parked all around apartment complexes. And so there's just things like that you notice, because here in the United States, apartment complexes have garages just as a part of the construction. So there's a variety of things, and it's very worthwhile going and seeing the differences.
In Russian we have a saying that just you'd better see once than hear several times, 100 of times. So I'd like Americans to come and see.
In your Russian social structure, is there an even proportion of the high, middle class, and low, the population? Is it evenly proportioned, or is it?
Oh no, not now. So just we used to be just a very homogeneous society. Now just there is a split in the society, which I find just a bit alarming, because there has appeared a group of very, very rich people. The so-called just new Russians. You might have heard the term. On the other hand, just there appeared beggars in the streets, and we didn't see them even just 5 or 10 years ago. Unfortunately, so just we, with the middle class, as I say, so the larger the middle class is, maybe the more stable the situation in the economy, industry, agriculture would be. So just that's the problem just now in society. Out of a homogeneous, at least on the surface society, now just, just these two just
At
groups
the
have
ends.
appeared, and the middle, so they are just developing.
Dr. Watt, did you see any similarities at the educational system, or you think the Russian is harder or the American is easier or the other way around?
We didn't spend a lot of time in the classrooms. We did have a chance to visit, and we were there. In fact, when some of the students who had been exchange students here a couple of years ago were giving their senior papers, their final presentations, and so we were honored to be there. Their system has developed, again, a different culture. There are more big tests, more big examinations that you have to get through rather than a lot of daily tests, daily things. Another difference is that we take things like copy machines for granted. And so while they're becoming more common over there, a lot of their work is done orally. Much more of their work is done orally than in many of our classes because of the emphasis upon not only oral communications, but also the problem of, they just can't Xerox 600 20-page multiple choice test. And so in some ways it's different. It means they have to express themselves more. They have to think out their line of thought to a much greater extent rather than just memorizing facts to check A, B, C, or D on a multiple choice test. So it's a different system. Some students, I think, would do better in each system, and so it would just be on the inclination of the student how well they operate in each system.
In Russia's agriculture, is it a healthy agriculture, and who owns the land?
Oh, the land is still owned by the state, because, yes, just that very legislation, they are trying to introduce just this bill. The bill has been introduced, but it was rejected, and so there are still problems. It is healthy, but the land is owned by the state yet. There is no law on the private property of land. And if I can add to what Dr. Watt said about just the similarities and differences in education. So yes, I believe we do have, of course, a lot of difficulties with all kind of technical equipment and just photocopy machines and everything. But the approach is also different. So just we do more oral work, just especially in the humanities and in other subjects. And practically all the exams would be just oral exams. But that is interesting, just having this different experience, and I think that we are taking something from here, at least just those students and those professors who have been here, I can see that they are introducing elements into their class. And I always ask your professors, I have visited a number of classes here, and I'm happy that the department just lets me come to the classes, and they will say, can I use in my class, but copyright the SAU. So I will use it in my class definitely, and I appreciate it, and I think that it is very important and very interesting just for my future work.
What does the word freedom mean to you?
Now for me, it means just my own freedom of choice. And that is very important, and I believe that that is one of the greatest achievements of the just last years. Though the situation is very difficult economically, but as a citizen, I feel much more free because practically all aspects of my life I would decide for myself, not somebody would decide it for me.
Dr. Watt, what classes exactly are you teaching at SAU?
I teach cultural geography classes and international politics. These are the areas that I deal with. And so introductory level, just world regional geography, where we cover the whole world in 15 weeks, which of course is very easy to do, but no, it's you just keep moving, keep busy. Teach classes on North American geography, like I say, a lot of international politics, comparative politics, international relations. These types of courses are what I specialize in.
Dr. Watts, what is the future plans for the exchange program?
We mentioned before that the 5-year agreement that set up the program expires this year, and so we have tentatively signed the new agreement signed. Dr. Gamble has signed it, and we've sent it over for their rector to sign so we can have the official papers for the next 5 years, because we need that when we get visas for the visiting professor. We have to show the program that they're part of. But I think the program should continue to grow, that as we get some SAU faculty going to Moscow, sharing in their life with their university, they're going to come back and be more enthusiastic about it, and that will assist us to get more people involved, more people active in it. I'm looking forward. I won't be able to do it this next year, but in a couple of years, taking a semester and going over and spending some time with them.
We want to thank our guests today, Dr. Watt and Dr. Dianova. I am Anastasia Theodoridou.
And I am Doreen Durham. Thanks for watching.
The SAU Report is a production of broadcast journalism students in the Department of Theater and Mass Communication at Southern Arkansas University in Magnolia.